It gives me great pleasure to now ask Dr. Seager to say a few words.
President Gupta, Chancellor Gordon, faculty, parents, friends, and especially graduates, thank you for this honor. I grew up in Canada, and whenever I visit here, and it's especially true of the Okanagan Valley, I remember one of the things I love most about Canada, and that is that not too far away, you can just go and you're at the doorstep, the entranceway, to what appears to be a vast tract of wilderness. And I think that's something Canadian that most of the world doesn't have in their heads. And I think about the same thing when I think about space. In outer space, there are hundreds of billions of stars in our own Milky Way galaxy. And in our universe, we think there are more than 100 billion galaxies. And in my job, I get to try to look for other planets around other stars. And in particular, we are searching for signs of life on some of those planets. Most of this work is still in the future. But I wanted to encourage you that the next time, which actually might be tonight, that you go outside and the weather's clear and you look up at the stars, you can think that each star is a sun. And our sun has planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, etc. And those other stars have planets also. And we know of thousands of other planets orbiting those other stars, and we think that every single star has planets. And right now we have no way to travel the vast distances to reach the other stars. So we can't explore the planets in any detail. We have to explore them remotely by using the Hubble Space Telescope and other telescopes. And I want you to know, even if this is the first time that you've heard about these other planets, we call them exoplanets, that some of the pioneering work accomplished to establish the techniques we use today to find planets actually was done at the University of British Columbia before the Okanagan campus was established. Well, my journey of space exploration leads me here today to actually offer you some advice. And the best thing that I could think of sharing with you related to my journey and success is to find something you love doing that you are really good at. Now, how do you find that something if you don't already know it? That's actually quite hard, and so I have a few pointers. One of them is trust your inner voice. It sounds a little like psychobabble, but let me explain. I remember when I was in high school, and I happened upon my University of Toronto open house. It was my local university in my neighborhood. And I went to the campus and went into the sciences department, and I found out you could be an astronomer for a job. I was so excited. I actually think it might have been one of the best days of my life. And I went home and I told my dad, and he said, because he wanted me to be able to get a job so I could support myself, because he didn't want to be supporting me when I was supposedly all grown up. And he further said, Sarah, you need to get a job where you can support yourself and not rely on any man. And that was actually good advice for you, to go out there and be able to support yourself. So I did become an astronomer, as you heard. I trusted my inner voice that somehow I loved doing that job and it was meant for me. But I actually listened to my dad, and I made sure that whatever skills I was getting along the way were transferable. You're learning constantly, and the things you learn how to do, they're going to be useful for something else. And I think he was at least persuaded that in the shorter term I'd be okay. That leads me to number 2, be open to opportunity. You might actually not know what you're good at or like doing. In my case, it was in my early 20s that I learned how to computer program. I actually had never come across it for some reason. I just never occurred to me that I'd even like it. And after struggling for a year of how to learn how to program, I found I loved it. And still today, it is one of my favorite things to do. I love just starting with the blank screen and having this sort of feeling of creating something aesthetic but functional. And when I was in graduate school in the mid-1990s, planets orbiting stars other than the sun were first discovered. And so, in this sort of bullet point number 2 of be open to opportunity, at the time, my graduate advisor said, why don't you work on exoplanets? I was like, okay, sounds cool. But at the time, actually, no one believed that there were planets orbiting stars other than the sun. People thought that instead of these faint signals, being from other planets, that actually it was just a new effect in a star, like a pulsating star or something that people hadn't found yet. And so I was just, many people were very skeptical. Why are you working on this? It'll never come to be. It'll never happen. And actually I stuck with it. And partly it was kind of a blind trust, but a lot of it, and this is what I have done over and over again, was a sort of belief in thinking quantitatively about what you really need to do to get the job done. And that leads me to point number 3, which is, I don't have to look it up actually, point number 3, which is, believe in yourself. That can be hard to do, but the secret to really believing in yourself is taking time to acknowledge and to think about your accomplishments and to be proud of yourself. And that's why we're all here today, to celebrate your accomplishment of completing your studies here at the University of British Columbia. And so for your journey ahead, I give you the astronomer's wish for good luck, which is clear skies, and to the graduates, congratulations.